I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is, how is it good? If you take a look at your life and you see certain habits or behaviors that, on the surface, seem to cause a lot of harm or stress or difficulty for you, but that you still have trouble getting rid of, ask yourself this question: how is it good? That is, what function does this behavior serve? What is this behavior doing in the context of your life? How does it help you? It has to serve a function, or else it still wouldn't be there, even if it's dysfunctional. Remember, most of the word dysfunction is the word function. Most dysfunctional behavior is actually functional. It serves a purpose. It just tends to only function for a while at a great cost. In the vast majority of cases, despite the obvious pain and suffering involved, dysfunctional behavior is considered a net positive in the mind of the individual in question. For example, I often work with people who are chronic worriers. They worry about things all the time, hundreds of times a day. They understand rationally that most of the things they're concerned about will never happen, and that their constant worrying is driving them crazy, and yet they often feel kind of ambivalent about letting go of the habit, despite asking for help. And this generally has to do with the function that this behavior is serving in that person's life. Namely, they believe that on a deeper level, the worrying behavior keeps them safe, which is a good thing. They believe that if they weren't worrying about the future, they would be even more exposed and vulnerable than they already feel. So even though they understand that the worrying corrodes their quality of life, they believe on the whole that worrying is a net positive for them, since the perceived protective factors associated with worrying outweigh the pain and distress it more obviously causes. You can generalize this to basically any, quote, dysfunctional behavior in your life. It's still around because on some level, you believe it to be a net positive. That as problematic as this behavior has become, maintaining it is still preferable to giving it up, which might expose you to even more pain and distress. This means that you can't really just stop a dysfunctional behavior. You actually have to replace it with another behavior that achieves the same ends while creating fewer problems. This would mean that to address the issue of, say, chronic worrying, you would need to find other ways to reduce the felt experience of vulnerability or to increase the feeling of safety, both of which are important needs. So if you're having trouble trying to understand why some habit persists in your life, despite it causing you pain and distress, ask yourself, how is it good? What is it doing in your life? How are you considering it a net positive within your own subjective understanding? You might be surprised by the answers you come up with. What do you think? Does this square with your own understanding? Remember to like and subscribe for the algorithm. And if you'd like to schedule a consultation, you can reach me at psychackspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.